Hello, Pisces. Thank you very much for tuning into your love read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan. For supportive oracle cards, Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. Love her a lot. I think, is she the Halloween Oracle? She might be. I have to go look at some point. Alright, we're going to do relationship first, single second. I don't know what I'm wiping away, but I feel like I need to do that. Alright. So we got Pisces. Relationship. My eye is starting to go wonky. That's fun. There's usually a reason for that when we start getting into readings, when my body does fun stuff. So we'll find out. Alright. With the Eight of Swords, this kind of makes sense. It's almost like a backed in a corner type feel to me right now. Even though it's the Eight of Swords is being trapped. Like when you're backed into a corner and you feel like you got to fight your way out of it, it's still trapped in a sense. And that's kind of what I'm coming for. And you're coming up to, this is the future influence with the, what number is this? The Nine of Wands, where you're defending what you're deciding to do. You're defending what you want. And this is seeming to be where you're heading. You're very motivated. You've got a lot of energy coming out in this situation. You know what you want. You're feeling very strong. Like, if I back down, I lose it. You got the Ace of Wands, and the King of Wands is what's helping you. Like, you are really motivated. There's something you want. You're not willing to back down, and you really do have that sense or that feeling like, I back down, I lose. I back down, or I give this a break, and it's out the window. Now, you also have the High Priestess here, which makes a lot of sense to me when it comes to Pisces, why this is happening. I feel like somebody else and how this affects somebody else is why you're pushing so hard. It's not just about you. And I know I'm a Pisces too, so maybe I'm a little biased if we're going to be fair. I do feel like, no, you're fighting for somebody. And that's one of the things that, like, you won't back down. That's why you're so motivated. You got so much strength. You're fighting for something. You believe in something. You feel like if you back down, that's going to take things in a bad direction. It's not about you just getting your way. It's about you helping things work out in a way that you think is correct and this you think is fair for other people. I'm feeling like this heartfelt need to protect somebody. Like the Eight of Swords, again, is telling me you feel backed in a corner that this is something you have to do. Now, I know we're going through all your cards before we even touch on your partners, I'm noticing. Your last card here, your challenge card, is the Three of Cups, which means you have allies. Remember that you have allies, because I feel like you're kind of like, no, I got to lead the way. I got to get this done. I can't let this go sideways. Like, you're so passionate about this that you're just like, no, I have to get this done. I'm not sure if you're not trusting or you're not believing other people will aid you and see it the way you see it. They may help you move forward, but they may move it in a different direction that's contrary to what you believe needs to happen right now. My eye is really wonky here. Okay, so you do have allies. Because this is your challenge card. You just need to explain, and you might get extra information. You might get additional information. You can still push forward very strongly in what you think is best, but still listen to other people. Make sure you listen to them. Nobody says you have to go their way. Nobody says that. But listen to them, because if there's something extra that can make this better, I'm still feeling, again, for the majority of you anyway, this is in regards to somebody else, and you're defending or helping someone else, and you won't back down. If you can garner extra information that can make that better for them, I feel like if you're convinced that's the truth, you're all about it. It may be a challenge to actually get that information across that way, but I feel like it's there. It's definitely there. More support, better outcomes. It's definitely there. You might have to work a little to unearth it, but it's there. Okay. Now, this is your partner. Now, and it might be hard to see it this way for some reason. For whatever reason, I'm seeing them with a lot of love. They do believe in you. But I feel like they're holding things back a little bit. They're not saying something. And I'm noticing their challenge card is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is like the fruitless victory. Like, almost like they could prove to fight to get their message across, but if you don't want to hear it, It could just be causing disruption between you and them. And they're like, well, why do that? If they're starting to feel, and I'm seeing the Queen of Cups and this Five of Swords together, kind of like they're not pushing back and they're not standing in your way, but they're also not feeling like you're listening to them. And you might be slightly in a panic mode, like, no, this has to work out. No, this has to happen. It's very much a helping somebody else and like, this can't fall through the cracks. This can't fall. It has to succeed. It must succeed. You're very strong with this right now. But you feel like this is extremely necessary. Your partner seems to be backing off a little bit because they know when you're feeling very passionate and something has to be done, that they can't derail you. And I don't feel like they want to derail you, but they're also feeling like you're not... I feel like they're not believing you're going to hear them. And you're not going to take their words of wisdom, or like they have other ideas to maybe make this easier on you and better for the situation. And you're like, I actually feel the first response you would have to that is like, I don't care. I don't want something easier for me. I want something that's going to really make an impact on this and make it better for so-and-so. There's a very defensive feel here. Like, no, I love this person. I care about this person. This has to go better. You're very, very passionate. And I'm knowing this as a Pisces, like, take this with a grain of salt, but if we get overly passionate, it's hard to hear somebody else's view because our heart is so much into it. We're just like, no, this has to be okay. We have to make this work out. We get very, very strong, like when it comes to fighting for like a love type thing or somebody we love for. We can get very, very strong and we can get very strong. Let's just leave it at that. So I'm feeling that, and I'm connecting it as a Pisces to that. Like I've seen me do it. So I know, looking back 2020, it's better to understand when I've done it. When it was happening to me, you know, human, very human with those things. But I'm seeing it. Like they want to help you. They want to tell you things. They want to work this out in a better way, but they're not feeling you're in a receptive place for it. And that if they try to bring something forward, you're just going to fight them. And they don't want to cause a fight with you. They want to literally help you, but they're looking at this like you have a very strong, passionate drive forward. And I feel like if you see it for what it is and understand what's happening here from that third-party perspective, like, this is not, you don't want to cause, like, this tension. You don't want to do that. That is not at all your goal. Not at all. But you are very passionate, like, this will not fail. You're very strong, like, this will not fail. And you got that strength behind you. You're not backing down. You really aren't. Now, what could make this better is just pulling in those resources. Just listening to other people. You don't have to do what they're saying, but let it talk through. Let it go through. Don't just stop the train. You know what I mean? Let them develop the thought. You can even checkpoint every now and then, like, well, we're doing it my way, though, right? I'm feeling like a big yes, we'll do it your way, but this is what I think. Okay, we could talk about what you think, but we're doing it my way. Yes, we're doing it your way. Okay, we can talk a little bit more about what you think, we're doing it my way. Right, and it'll keep going through. I feel like it'll keep going back, like, just checking in. You realize I'm making this go my way. They'll be like, yes, I know this is going to go your way. Because you're very passionate. And they're like, if you're both happy, and I feel like you're kind of like, I'm not going to lose footing on this. I can't lose footing on this. This has to work out. This must succeed. It's not even like an option. It's not an option. Now, if you just open the door and start listening and start understanding what they're saying, just hearing it, absorbing it. Of course, you gotta absorb it. There's a difference between hearing somebody tell you something and absorbing it and thinking about it, because you need to. You need to absorb it. Like, don't just let them talk just to let them talk. That's not helping anything. Especially because they'll know what you're doing. I feel like your partner knows you well enough that, like, if you're just letting him talk it out and you're not really absorbing it, they're gonna know. But it's also better for you to absorb it, because there's something to gain from this. You're not going to gain it unless you listen, think it out. You don't have to go that way, but absorb it, think it out. If something can better, more beneficial for the person you love can come out of this, which I feel like it very much can, I feel like if you see it for what it is, yes, you'll do it. But you got to go through the thoughts. You got to kind of get into it a little bit more to really think it out, because you got to be sure. Again, this is a we will succeed, we must succeed feel. So you're like, I'm not going to take chances. I'm not going to do something that could be less than the best for the person I care about. This must work out. This must be the best. It must. There's no, like, if there's a possibility to fail, you can forget it. I'm not going to do it. It will work out. There's no possibility for failure. Not going there. Very strong, very passionate. Okay. So where I'm going next, I know you're not going to back down. I've already said that in the very beginning, I believe. You're not going to back down. It's not an option. Like, must succeed. As it keeps going forward, and as you keep going forward, it will go to your liking, in the sense of, like, what you want to happen will happen. What you're directing to happen will happen. There's no way around it, is what I'm getting. You're too passionate about it, you're not going to back down. Your partner has the moon card with the high priestess. No, the high priest. Although there are companion cards. And I'm noticing you have one, they have the other. So the way this is matching is they're listening. They're trying to support you. They're definitely going to kind of be questioning if what's going on is the best. You may very well find the best way to do this and succeed and keep going, and to you it makes sense. I feel like they might be questioning, like, I don't know. But I do see them supporting you. As long as it keeps going on the up and up and it doesn't really look like it's going to take a nosedive, they will support you. They will support you in this. I just keep saying that word. That's the only word I can come up with. But they're definitely going to be trying to be the sound of reason in this situation. If they see something looks like it's going to take a nosedive, they will be more vocal about it. If they start getting really vocal and they start seeming to get upset, it's because they're seeing something that they're afraid it will really have a very severe nosedive. They're really concerned that needs to be heard. This is your partner. And I feel like, for the majority of you anyway, you really love your partner. They need to be heard. If they're really coming at you strong, I'm getting the two cards together, like if they really come at you strong, it could just be that they don't understand what they're seeing. Yes. And if that's it, especially, you need to really explain what's happening. They could see something where they think, oh, this is going to go bad, and they're nervous. You also need to hear that, because they're aiding you on this. It must succeed. And if they're seeing a nosedive come up, you don't want that nosedive, and they're convinced it's going to happen. One of two things. You have to convince them what's really going on so they understand it better, so they don't feel that way. Or two, they're going to point out something that maybe you don't like, but it may be important for success to keep this succeeding. Keep that in mind. If they're getting really upset, it's because they don't understand something and they're afraid it's going to go for a nosedive. If they think it's going to kind of float but not the best, they probably won't push you that hard. They'll just throw little, like, is this right? Is that right? Type thing. Like, I don't know about that. Like, if they think it's not going the best, it could go better. They might throw out a couple comments about this or that aren't that bad, but trying to wake you up to something. They won't become such a pain about it. But if they really see a nosedive, they're going to become very vocal about that. So keep that aware. Keep aware of that. And I think we went through everything here. Again, they love you. They love you. They love, at the very least, they love what you're going at here. Because I understand there's somebody here that you're kind of like, well, me and my partner don't really get along that well. But even if that's the case, you're confident, or at least they're saying you should be confident, that the person or situation this is concerning, they have a lot of love for. So, and I feel like for those of you that it hits that way, it's like, your partner and you don't really have the strongest love bond. You know that. There's no question. When you came into this reading, you knew that. That wouldn't be pulling up a question. Like, if you were already questioning that when you came in, or you already knew that coming into this, well, then it is what it is. Okay, I think we're good with that, because I think I'm going to beat it to death otherwise. All right, we're good. Really, we didn't do any oracle cards, sorry, but sometimes what happens is the message comes through. I just let the message come through. I don't force in oracle cards, so if they come in, they come in. Let's do single Pisces. There was a card there, and I don't know what it was, but now I'm wishing I did look, but oh well, I put it back in the deck. Single Pisces. Is somebody like popping out of the woodwork? I'm already wondering. Who do you got here, single Pisces? What's going on, single Pisces? Okay. That's okay. That could be a good thing. Let's see. I do. We didn't use these, and I did shuffle them. What's your choice? Okay. You do have the possibility of You've got the possibility of working with someone to possibly create a relationship farther down the line, which may seem a little bit confusing. But we'll get a little deeper into it here, because I'm already getting, and I know this is in your thoughts, it's the Temperance card in your thoughts, but that's like mixing of energies, waiting for things to work together. It's kind of like, mixing the eggs and milk and flour and all other good stuff to actually create the batter, and then getting it into the right pan, and then getting it into the oven, and then letting it cool, and then getting the icing together, and then assembling it. Like, to me, that's what temperance is. It's like you're working to bring elements together, and like then creating something more from it. And there's a lot of waiting, but there's a lot of building while you wait. That's what I'm feeling for this. Like, things are progressing. It just feels like it takes forever and a day to get to the goal, is what it honestly feels like. But I like the energy here. I don't really think there's negative cards here. You might view it differently, just to be fair. When I'm looking in the past, I'm seeing the Nine of Swords regarding this person we're talking about that may enter your life. May. Because some things have to be worked out here. Granted, it's a general reading. But in the past, the Nine of Swords was here. In other words, I feel like there was kind of a light connection in the past. There definitely was some interest. But nothing really grab held and took off. Nothing really like held on real tightly. Possibilities were there in the past, but nothing really like, either it was one date and it just kind of like went on its own, it just kind of fizzled or something, or it was talking and considering, but nothing ever actually happened. One of the two, something like that, where there was consideration in the past, but it just didn't feel like it grabbed on and took hold. It just kind of, it didn't go good, it didn't go bad, it just was kind of there. That's what I'm getting for the Nine of Swords. Kind of like, I'm feeling there's a pessimistic attitude with this too, by the way. So it could have been you, the other person, or both, where you're kind of like beat up by love, maybe. Something like that, where, I don't know if I have it in me to give a relationship a shot or really get to know anybody right now. There's a little pessimistic air to this. It could be you, them, or both. Just kind of like, I don't know. Not really overly motivated to push anything forward, which I feel like is another reason this didn't grab on. Somebody, if not both of you, had a little bit of a pessimistic tone. Now, okay, that's the past, so let's keep going forward. Now, this person seems to be showing up. If they haven't yet, they will very soon, is what I'm getting with this reading. And I will say this. In the description, you'll get the time frame for when this is meant, but I wouldn't hold to that. Usually these readings come to you when they're necessary. If you're drawn to it, they're either one of two things. You're about to fall into it, or if the bottom information with the time frame seems to make sense to you, it's giving you a heads up about what's coming forward. It's helping you plan. One of the two. So keep that in mind. Now, what I'm getting is this person is still around you, and I feel like you might actually get a message from this person. A message, either you get a message or you'll see them, they'll cross your path again, something like that. And I'm getting like the Ten of Pentacles is like it's a safe feeling. It's safe feeling. It's not feeling like anybody's pushing you to do anything you don't want to do. You're not feeling stressed like you need to do anything about something in the sense of like we should make something happen here. You're not feeling stressed like that. It's a comfortable feeling, like they're there. Either they're communicating with you or they're right in your presence. But I'm noticing these two cards, the Four of Swords and the Eight of Swords, which is to me is very interesting because like 4 and 8, half of 8 is 4, and you got that actually happening, and you're having the 8 feeling here. I feel the way this is pulling in is kind of like there is interest. And you do have some interest here. So you're like, if something comes of this, yeah, that would be good. You like this person. They're attractive enough to your liking. They're nice. But nothing is like, there's no major charge. But they're good. And you're like, well, if they were more interested and they wanted something to happen, I would go along with it. But it's a very comfortable feel. Nobody's pushing anybody forward. And I get that's why the Four of Swords is there. I feel like this is actually quite good, even though that Temperance card, like this is forever and a day. I don't know how you're going to feel about it in the sense of like, either kind of like I'm not really convinced anything's going to happen, or like this is really, really slow. But what I'm getting here is like there's a comfortable feel. Like this is, it's almost like tilling the ground before you plant seeds. And Making sure the dirt is all prepared and has the manure and whatever, the eggshells, whatever you're going to throw into the dirt to make sure it's able to really feed the plant you're going to plant there. Because I feel like this is like tilling the soil. It's almost like before you were aware of like the spot. Like it's like when you first came across each other, it's kind of like the possibility to plant something was there and addressed, and now it's kind of like tilling the soil. Like let's look into the soil a little bit. Let's dig it up a bit to see how we really get along. Nobody's pushing forward very strongly, and I feel like that's the Four of Swords. Like both of you might be questioning, like, does the other one really even want anything to happen here? And you're feeling like, well, I'm not feeling like I should push anything forward because I'm not seeing an overwhelming push towards me. If I saw like that energy, possibly I'd suggest some things, but I'm not seeing it. Or possibly you are suggesting things and it's just not seeming to take off. So I feel like you're kind of like, this isn't going anywhere right now. And you might be even convinced to the point where like, I don't see it going anywhere right now. I don't know if it's going anywhere ever. I don't know. You're still open to the thought, though. Now, what I like about this, because it may sound a little humdrum, a little less than spectacular right now, you got the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom. This is building. Like, seriously. It's like the first time you encountered each other, like the fact that you could plant something in this area sounds good. And now you're coming around again, and you're like, well, let's till up the soil a little bit and see what's this made of. Does it need some more nutrients? Are we going to add some more nutrients? Let's make it nice and fluffy so we can get that seed in there where we want it to and make sure it's going to be protected. It's kind of like it's like preparing the soil. The seed isn't even in there yet, but it's kind of like preparing the soil. That's what I'm feeling. And the Ace of Pentacles is like, this is a really strong base to this situation, a very strong start. It just may not feel like it because it may not, it's kind of like, yeah, we've dug up the soil, we tilled it up a bit, but there's no seed in there right now. So nothing's going to grow from this yet because nothing's been planted yet. And that might be how you're looking at it. Like, yeah, we could, but we haven't. Like, we could put a seed in there, but we haven't. We haven't. I'm getting Ace of Pentacles. Like, this is really, really good. This is starting a very secure, strong base. This relationship might go slow the whole way, but every step is a major... Like, the longer it goes, the stronger you feel, the better you feel with this person. And this might be one of those permanent relationships that, like, as years go by, you just feel that much better and better that this person is in your life. Year by year, you're just more and more thankful that they're there. It could even be one of those where, like, you're attracted now, but 10 years from now, they're the love of your life, and just the fact that they walk in the room makes your day. It could evolve into that, just to keep in mind. Because you got the Knight of Pentacles here. You do like this person. You're just not... The fireworks aren't, like... Fireworks are not going off in the sense of, like, nobody's passionately, like, going at each other. It's not happening like that. But it's a very calm, nice, respectful, I would say. It's a very good energy. Some people are slow builders. Some people get into stuff very slowly. They take their time. I'm noticing this is the Nine of Pentacles, which is an earth energy. Now, I don't like I don't like saying it could be like an earth sign. Like, the earth signs are Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. It could be something. They could be that, yes. I wouldn't look out for just that or think that's what matches or that. But, I wouldn't even go there. This is a person that's a slow build. Match the energy. Because I've watched some other readers, and sometimes it makes me laugh because it could be... And they'll list off all the air signs, or it could be, and then they'll list off all the water signs, and then a little bit later they'll go, or it could be, and they'll list off all the fire signs, and I'm like, what? What, you don't want to do the last set? Like, I personally just, maybe it's my own thing, I'm just like, before you know it, they've listed every sign in the zodiac, and I'm just like, oh, so it could be any sign? Like, okay. So I don't like doing that, because you just got to match the energy. You just got to match the energy. This is a slow build. But it could be an earth sign, just to be fair. It could be, but I wouldn't, like... tie it to the ground on that. Now, when this keeps going forward, this moment is the tilling of the soil. The planting of the seed is going to happen. You have the Death card coming forward with this person. There's a moment here where things change. It could be a date to where things become... Like, there is some type of physical... back and forth a little bit, like it's nothing you don't want. Whatever it is, you're okay with it. because there's a very respectful feel here. There's a very let's move slowly, let's not go crazy feel here. This person, what I'm getting here is they got two cards. They got the Seven of Pentacles, which is more Earth, ironically, and they got the self-love. I'm feeling that they're not, something about love, it's just not, either they've been stabbed in the back too many times, or they fell in love before and got left in the cold, something like that. So they're kind of gun shy. They want this to happen, but they're kind of a little bit nervous about it at the same time, excuse me. And it doesn't say anything about you. It's just their experiences have been a bit harsh. So they're like, I want to build something. I want to understand how somebody feels. I want to know I can trust somebody. For some of them, they've come across people who just flat out use them for their benefit, and that's not love, and they know that. They may have seen it differently in the past and thought, well, that's a version of love. That is not love. That is manipulation. If somebody's using you for whatever, you don't use people out of love. No, I'm not even going to humor that. That's not love. Love is when you care for somebody. It matters how they feel. It matters what happens to them, and that you want that back from them too. You want them to care about you. Love is not about using somebody. That's manipulation. I don't care what anybody says. That is not love. And they've learned that the hard way. And so there's a moment here where they're feeling it. They do kind of want it. They like you and they like what they see, but they don't trust themselves. It has nothing to do with you. And I think it's important. As long as you see it for what it is, you'll be okay. Because it's easy to get a little insulted because you're like, if you see them a little gun shy to move forward, or maybe they'll say things like, what do you want from me? Or like, what do you want me to do that for you? Or they might be questioning things a little bit. Literally has nothing to do with you. It's past effects that they've had from other people who have just kind of like suckered them in and used them to get ahead, or used them to get money or whatever. And they're a little gun shy and they're working it out. I don't feel like that's a thing with you for those who are connecting with this. But if they're saying it, or if you feel like they're coming off like that, they're sorting it out, they're moving it past it, they're just kind of doing spot checks to make sure they're seeing what's really here and what's not, and not just believing the better that they want to believe, because they do like you, and they're falling for you is what I'm getting here. When the Death card shows up, they are falling for you, but it makes them nervous. Love makes them nervous. They've had a harsh road is what I'm getting. So as it keeps coming forward, the next thing after the Death card, this is a slow one. This literally is really a slow one. Because I feel like passions or feelings are being acknowledged. And they're being talked about here in the Death card. I feel like they're being talked about. What comes next is the Two of Pentacles and the Peace card. This is going to be a very slow situation. It's not going to go fast. It's just not going to happen. But as it goes forward, they're going to want to... they're gonna it's almost like, next year I plan to do this, and it's almost that far out. Hopefully not that dramatic, but it could be kind of like, when next spring comes, and you're like, next spring, we're barely into this spring. They're like, well, when next spring comes, this is what I'm thinking, and would you be interested in that? And you're kind of like, yeah. And it's kind of like you're looking at it like, this is how this energy feels like. They're looking so far out, and it's not the biggest step forward, but it's significant. And you're just kind of like, okay. I feel like you're okay with going along with whatever they want. But I feel like the Two of Pentacles for you is kind of like, you're looking at this like this could be a long, like this could take a long time for this to really lock in the way you really want it to. And that's the question here. The peace here is like, are you at peace with that? Are you okay with that? Because it's very slow, very, very slow moving forward is what I'm getting. But every time you move up, it's secure. It doesn't go back. Like every time you achieve a notch, you got it, it's yours. Then you get another notch, you achieve it, it's yours. It does feel very slow. Now, for some of you, it's not going to be that long. It's not going to be like, really? Next spring? Because we're barely into this spring and you're okay. But it's gonna, for those of you that it's more like, maybe it's 3 to 4 months out, that's how it feels to you, if that makes sense. Like it's that far out, like, oh, that's a ways down the road. I mean, I guess. See the pace for what it is. Realize that's the pace of progression. Is it worth this type of relationship for you? Because I feel like the passion, the strength will grow over time. It will get stronger and stronger and stronger. The question is, can you be comfortable with the pace? That's all. If you can go forward, go for it. If it's just at this point you're like, I don't really know, you're going to have to evaluate if this person, this situation is worth it, and if the long road, like think of it 10 years down the road, if this progresses where you want it, was it worth the wait? Or would you have rather gone a different direction, and that will let you know if you're going to continue with this, or if you're going to respectfully say this isn't for me and just kind of move on. It's truly up to you. But if you do choose to do it, it will build very strong over time. I think it's worth it, if I'm going to give my 2 cents. All right, I think we're done. All right, so I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.